to our reporter in the area, Manqoba Mchunu. Manqoba, we heard earlier from the President. What is he doing now? What can you tell us about what he's saying, what he's doing, and what the people in the community are telling him?
Well, Sally, at the moment, the President going again to assess the situation. He is currently at one of the areas that have been affected, the area of Charlesville, where we saw large amounts of destruction in that particular area. But I can tell you, Sally, that it is certainly scenes of utter destruction here in Jagersfontein. The remnants of the flooding are still visible here, with several roads here still buried in sludge. And one of the areas that have been hardest hit is Charlesville, where dozens of houses have been destroyed, some of them reduced to rubble, and community members have been trying to salvage the little that's left, but the scale of the destruction is immense. Vehicles have been swept away and electricity poles have been uprooted, and search and rescue teams have been on the ground trying to assist those in distress. And we also saw humanitarian organizations also lending a helping hand. And what we know at this point is that over 300 people have been displaced, and some of them still unaccounted for, but the residents insisting that they want to see accountability. They say that this could have been avoided, as there have been numerous protests over what they say is illegal mining that is taking place in this mine. They accuse the mine of flouting regulation, and this is what the mayor of the Kopanong local municipality had to say earlier on.
All right, we don't unfortunately have that bite, but I can tell you what we are looking at the moment, Manqoba, is some incredible footage, quite shocking, of that water just rushing out of that dam and engulfing that area. Serious concerns about how toxic that sludge is. And I think it was earlier you spoke to someone from the SPCA who said they had to put a lot of animals down, animals who drank some of that sludgy water, but also just getting drowned in it. I mean, it's an absolutely horrific situation. I would imagine a lot of people are telling you their stories of what it was like when they realized the dam had burst. To see that water coming towards you must have been truly terrifying.
Well, certainly said. In fact, many of the people that we spoke to saying that they're still quite traumatized about what happened here. They're saying that they were asleep when they heard the sound of the gushing sludge that was coming and approaching their houses. And there was a bit of panic within the community, as, community members had to try and, get, some of those that are still sleeping in their houses, outside of their houses. But community members, of course, saying that this caught them totally by surprise. They were not expecting that this dam would burst its banks. But of course, it has been quite a huge concern for community members. We know, Sally, that there have been several protests that have been held in this particular area where residents had raised issues around safety when it comes to this dam. They are saying that, Sally, there had been, issues of, the overflowing of water in that particular dam, and, the rising levels of water in that dam. And so this is one of the issues why they've been taking to the streets. In fact, to understand that it has been over a decade when these protests started in this community, and what they are saying at this point is that, this is a man-made disaster, and so people need to be held accountable. They're still looking for answers as to who really should be held accountable. At this point, it's really hard to pinpoint, who should be held accountable, given the fact that this mine has been sold in 2010 to a consortium here in the area, but we understand that it was also sold again earlier this year to another company. So it seems like it has been changing quite a few hands, and it's difficult at this point to pinpoint exactly who should be held accountable. But what we do understand, and this is from what the President had said during that engagement with the communities, that there will be investigations that are going to take place with the help of the Mineral Resources Council of South Africa, saying that he wants reports as to what really led to what happened here, and he wants those reports to be given to him weekly. But the priority, of course, he says, is to ensure that people's livelihoods are restored, and therefore he says that all these departments that are here, the Education Department, the Department of Human Settlements, are going to ensure that livelihoods are brought back to normality.
I mean, this is the thing, and I mean, if you look at these images as we have been doing, it is just terrifying, the scale of this disaster. And as you say, anywhere between 300 and possibly 500 people without homes. The president did mention something about that they would be housed in a hall somewhere. Do you know where these people are sleeping tonight, and how many of them are being looked after? You know, what's the situation? What's the plan for this evening?
Well, certainly many of the residents have been displaced. In fact, the area that the president is currently in now, the area of Charlesville, we saw houses that were totally destroyed, Sadie. The only thing that you can see there is just the foundation that's been left there. And this just tells you the scale of the flooding that had occurred there, the devastation that had occurred there. Speaking earlier on to one of the humanitarian organization, Red Cross, what they told us is that there are over 250 families or houses that have been affected, with over 300, in fact close to 400 people that have been displaced. Those people, we understand, Sally, have been taken to various community halls, including the one that the president was visiting in Smith, but also some of them have been taken as far as Bloemfontein, where they're being housed in different guest houses as well as hotels. But of course, the investigations are getting underway, but community members at this stage are saying that all they want to see is accountability and to see really what was the cause of what we saw in that particular area. But one thing that's certain, said, is that it is going to take still quite some time for any sense of normality to be restored to this community, given the extent of the damage that is here. Houses would need to be rebuilt, and of course, many of those people that lost their furniture, that lost, infrastructure, crucial infrastructure, that also has to be repaired. So we're still in it for a long haul as far as trying to restore some sort of normality is concerned. But of course, the president saying that this will be the key priority.
Yeah, that's got to be first. And, we've just been hearing about the water outages, that people are desperately thirsty and the humanitarian organizations are bringing water. Power could be a real problem for some time to come. And then there's the issue of the toxicity of that sludge. I can see in the background behind you that the president's motorcade and the lights are flashing there as he goes through the Charlesville area, which has also been severely impacted. Just thank you so much for bringing us an update. I know that you've been on the ground for a good 12 hours now, just keeping an eye on what is happening, and we hope you continue to bring us news as it develops in the Jagersfontein area. That is our reporter Manqoba Mchunu in the Free State.